Mr. Beast is being accused of exploiting poverty tourism and making money off poor people in Africa after he provided access to clean water for many children. He literally built 100 wells, particularly in Kenya, Zimbabwe, and Cameroon, and made other useful changes such as renovating schools, providing power to a school, and donating pushbacks. These are essentials of life, but apparently, according to some people, if you do this in Africa these days and you're not African, or you're not from Africa, or maybe let's just go with it, you are not black, it means you're exploiting poverty and people want you cancelled.
Oh, water!
You just witnessed a small village in Kenya get access to unlimited clean drinking water in less than a second.
One down, 99 more wells in Africa to go. You're gonna love this video.
Combined, these 100 wells are going to give around 500,000 people fresh water to drink.
Before I say this, I should make it a point that many African Americans, the majority of African Americans, are informed on issues to do with Africa and do make a positive contribution to the continent, and many have spoken in support of Mr. Beast. But there is a small number of uninformed African Americans who like to school the world on a continent they have never set their foot on and are unlikely to visit in their lifetime, just to gain traction on social media, who are driving the agenda against Mr. Beast. It's not only African Americans, there are also some Africans who are active on social media trying to gain traction, also criticizing Mr. Beast from the comfort of their good homes, I would say. And who would have thought that providing clean water in 2023 to countless villages and children is a crime? Clean water is a basic and essential need for any human life. It is very simple. Without water, we cannot exist. Where there is water, there is life. We have that sort of saying in Africa. Let's just briefly talk about Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is the world's biggest YouTuber. He runs a separate channel called Based Philanthropy, where he does charity work, where he improves lives. The following point I'm going to make, I think is very important. Mr. Beast, the YouTuber, does his charity work inside the USA and outside the United States of America. So inside America, he has provided meals and other forms of assistance to communities. Go and check it out for yourself on his website. There are videos of him doing similar work in other parts of the world, such as helping a children's hospital in the Philippines and providing electricity in Colombia, for example. Most importantly, Mr. Beast clearly said he was not making any money on those videos. Every cent he made was going to be reinvested in the charity work. But still, that wasn't enough for some people. In one of the videos from Africa, there is an African teacher who talks about how the children were catching waterborne diseases causing illness and death. You can see in the videos how happy these kids are to have fresh water. Fresh, clean water. Clean water is life-changing. I'm so sure you would feel the same way if you were in their shoes. A free brand new bicycle is life-changing for the kids to be able to get to school and back instead of walking long distances. School is already hard as it is, and then you also have to be thinking of walking many kilometers to and from school. So if someone gives you a push bike, that is a life-changing experience for someone. I am an African and I have experienced this kind of life, or at least seen it. So I can back myself up with lived experience. If you have not seen it or experienced it, then you are free to condemn invariable contributions like what Mr. Beast is doing. Contaminated water and poor sanitation are linked to transmission of diseases such as cholera, diarrhea, dysentery, hepatitis A, typhoid, and polio. If you've been in an African hospital, especially sub-Saharan Africa, you know that these are the prevalent sort of presentations at any hospital. Absent, inadequate, or inappropriate managed water and sanitation services expose individuals to preventable health risks. So some 1 million people are estimated to die each year from diarrhea as a result of unsafe drinking water, sanitation, and hygiene. Yet diarrhea is largely preventable, and the deaths of nearly 400,000 children under the age of 5 years could be avoided every year if these risk factors were addressed. So let me just sort of stop there for a bit, because, if you're an adult, you could survive a diarrhea or some of these diseases, but you know that a child is quite different from an adult because they don't have the reserves. So if they get dehydrated from these diseases, they actually get really, really sick. And that is why a lot of these kids die. And this is the most vulnerable age. Prevention is better than cure. It's almost giving hope and life to someone. In 2021, 251 million people required preventative treatment for schistosomiasis. Now, I don't want to be talking like a clinician or anything like that, but schistosomiasis is a nasty disease. You just look it up. You don't want to catch schistosomiasis. So apparently, according to some people, this is not good for the children. Well, maybe those who are criticizing Mr. Beast ought to go into these communities and ask them if they are happy with the clean water or not. It is a simple test. But wait, you can go one better. Go and build the wells yourselves. Don't just be clever on YouTube because you have clean water and you drive a nice car and live in a decent house. For you, it's nothing. If you're criticizing Mr. Beast, then you have the wrong target, I reckon. They are the politicians you should be going for. After decades of independence, we need a YouTuber to provide basic needs for our people, like water. What are our politicians doing? We should take them to task. We should say, okay, let's go. Have you seen what Mr. Beast is doing? Maybe we should do the same. So it's people like you who are using pan-africanism to let politicians off the hook. If you have beef with Mr. Beast, you should also criticize the failure of the government to provide basic services. This is why I like Paul Kagame. He's a realist. He says we can't ignore history, but we also must look at the African themselves. We allowed it to happen to us, and we are still allowing Western and Eastern governments to exploit us, even to this day. Not in those words exactly, but that was the essence of his conversation. Africans have brains, but we still allow people to come in and exploit our resources, divide us. For everything that is happening in Africa, we Africans should actually take the biggest portion of the blame. It is not the United States of America or the Chinese or the Europeans. Yes, as Kagame says, they've played a big history, a big part of it. It is ourselves. Why do we allow these things to happen? We all cannot be leaders. That is why we put people in these positions of power to make decisions on our behalf. And these people have not been making decisions on our behalf for decades. Is there a perfect Pan-Africanist? Maybe it is time we understood the identity that is Pan-Africanism. We need to define what it is to be a Pan-Africanist. But certainly, it is not being hostile and to initiatives like what Mr. Beast is doing. Kwame Nkrumah, the author of Pan-Africanism, said Pan-Africanism without financial freedom meant nothing. Maybe that's where we ought to start, from where Kwame Nkrumah left. Another YouTuber, Indigo Traveler, suffered as well with his content from Africa. People accuse him of highlighting difficult living conditions in Africa. But the guy travels all over the world, not only in Africa, and he gives voice to the voiceless. I understand that the popular content in Africa now is about highlighting the best bits of the African continent. Nothing wrong with that, and yes, why not? We learn a lot about the good side of our continent. After decades of discriminatory and poor coverage from the Western media, people like Wodemaya, his wife, Miss Trudy, Tayo Aina, and others are doing a great job elevating our continent to greater heights, and that is most appreciated. But the reality of the matter is we still need to lift the majority of our people out of poverty. And their voices should not be suppressed just because they don't fit our agenda. Let us hear them. What are we afraid of? Who are we afraid of? These are our people. These are Africans. They are the definition of Africa. Yes, the vulnerable ought to be protected from social media or from social media experts. Remember that Chinese man that was exploiting children in Africa, in Malawi, particularly? I'm sending videos of the same to the Chinese social media Weibo for their entertainment. Wodemaya was the one who alerted the authorities and started the ball rolling for that man to get arrested and deported. That was a vile case of exploitation. But none of you critics were there. And you don't even know this because it doesn't gain any traction. It's not attractive, isn't it? And frankly speaking, you don't care. It won't give you any views. But Mr. Beast is not exploiting Africans. But because Mr. Beast is who he is, it's going to give you traction and you want him cancelled. That's my 2 cents on it. Because if you understood the importance of his work, you wouldn't say that. I definitely support Mr. Beast, and I think the majority of Africans support Mr. Beast. Leave your comments below for this, what you think about this discussion, and I will see you in my next video. Peace. I'm out.